Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and let me know where you're watching from in the comments. Today I'm sharing a story about Emma, a young lawyer caught in a web of family secrets, corporate greed, and her grandmother's brilliant legacy. Buckle up, it's a wild ride, let's dive in. 6 years after her parents, Michael and Jessica, were sent to prison for attempting to murder her grandmother Sarah, Emma Wilson stood in a sleet Chicago law office staring at a letter from her late grandmother's estate. At 22, Emma had just graduated from Northwestern's pre-law program and landed a junior associate position at a prestigious firm. She'd worked hard to escape the shadow of her parents' crimes, but Sarah's death last month from natural causes had pulled her back into the family drama she'd tried to leave behind. The lawyer, David Hartwell, adjusted his glasses. Emma, your grandmother left you something unusual. It's not just money. There is a challenge attached. Emma frowned, clutching the letter. Sarah had always been sharp, a woman who'd outsmarted her own son and daughter-in-law when they tried to poison her at her retirement party. Emma had idolized her grandmother's resilience, but she wasn't prepared for this. The letter outlined Sarah's bequest. Emma would inherit $5 million, but only if she completed a series of tasks designed to test her ethical fortitude. Failure meant the money would go to charity. The first task was cryptic. Find the truth behind the Wilson Trust's silent partner. Emma's heart sank. The Wilson Trust was the legal fortress Sarah had built to protect her $23 million fortune from greedy hands. A silent partner? Sarah had never mentioned one. Emma glanced at David. What does this mean? Who's the silent partner? David's expression was unreadable. That's for you to uncover. Sarah trusted you to figure it out. Back at her small apartment, Emma pored over the documents David had given her. The Wilson Trust was airtight, with clauses that ensured no one could access the funds without Sarah's explicit consent, or now her executors. But buried in the fine print was a reference to a holding company, Aurora Ventures, which owned a 10% stake in Sarah's old consulting firm. The company had been dissolved after the sale, but its records were sealed, and the name of the primary investor was redacted. Emma's legal training kicked in. She started digging, requesting access to corporate filings through her firm's database. What she found raised more questions than answers. Aurora Ventures had funneled money into Sarah's business during its early days, but its funding traced back to a shell corporation in the Caymans. Someone had gone to great length to stay hidden. Meanwhile, Emma's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Stop digging or you'll regret it. Her pulse quickened. She'd inherited Sarah's knack for noticing details, and this felt like a warning from someone who knew more than they should. At work, Emma's boss, Claire Reynolds, a sharp-tongued partner with a reputation for winning high-stakes corporate cases, noticed her distraction. Wilson, you're supposed to be prepping for the Meridian merger. What's got you so jumpy? Emma hesitated, but decided to trust Claire. She explained the inheritance, the tasks, and the mysterious silent partner. Claire's eyes narrowed. Sounds like your grandmother set you up to uncover something big, but be careful. People don't hide money like that unless they're protecting something dirty. Claire offered to pull some strings, accessing old financial records through her network. Within days, they had a lead. Aurora Ventures was linked to a man named Victor Crane, a reclusive investor who'd vanished from public life after Sarah sold her company. Crane had a history of backing startups, but was rumored to have ties to organized crime, using shell corporations to launder money. Emma's next step was to track down Crane. Using her firm's resources, she found an address for a penthouse in Miami. Against Claire's advice, Emma flew down, determined to confront him. The penthouse was guarded by security, but Emma, channeling Sarah's boldness, bluffed her way in by claiming to be a lawyer representing the Wilson estate. Crane was in his 60s, silver-haired and polished, but his eyes were cold. "You're Sarah's granddaughter," he said, not surprised. "She always said you'd be the one to figure it out." "Figure what out?" Emma demanded. "Were you her silent partner? Why hide it?" Crane leaned back, sipping a whiskey. "Your grandmother and I had an arrangement. I funded her company when no one else would, back when she was a widow with nothing. In return, she let me use her firm to move certain assets discreetly. She didn't ask questions. She was smart that way." Emma's stomach churned. Was Sarah involved in something illegal? "Are you saying my grandmother laundered money for you?" Crane smirked. "She didn't know the details, but she suspected. When she sold the company, she cut me out. Cleanly, I'll give her that. But she left me a loose end. You." Emma's phone buzzed again. Another anonymous text. "Leave Miami now." Her hands shook, but she pressed on. "If you're the silent partner, why did Sarah want me to find you?" "Because," he said, "because she knew I'd come for the money she locked away. She wanted you to expose me, to finish what she started." Before Emma could respond, the door burst open. 2 men in suits entered, one flashing a badge. "Victor Crane, you're arrested for money laundering and racketeering." Emma's heart raced as she realized the second man was an FBI agent she had seen in Claire's office, a contact Claire had tipped off after she shared her plans. As Crane was led away in handcuffs, he glared at Emma. "You're just like her. Too clever for your own good." Back in Chicago, Emma met with David Hartwell to report her findings. He handed her a second letter from Sarah to be opened only upon completing the first task. It read, "Emma, I knew you'd uncover the truth. The money is yours, but so is the choice. Keep it and live with my past, or give it away and start clean. I trust you." Emma stared at the letter, torn. The $5 million could change her life, but it was tainted by Sarah's deal with Crane. She thought of her grandmother's strength, her refusal to be a victim. Sarah had given Emma this challenge not just to expose Crane, but to test whether she'd let money define her. After days of reflection, Emma made her choice. She donated the $5 million to a foundation for elder abuse prevention, inspired by Sarah's story. The act felt like a weight lifting. She'd honored her grandmother's legacy, not by keeping the money, but by proving she was more than her parents' greed. Back at her apartment, Emma opened her laptop and started typing an email to Claire, thanking her for the support. A final text from an anonymous number arrived. "You made the right choice." Emma smiled, suspecting Sarah's old friend Patricia, the private investigator, was still watching out for her. And that's the story of Emma's inheritance dilemma. What would you have done with the money? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this. Where are you watching from? Until next time, stay sharp and stay safe.